Hi everyone, my name is Gia-Khanh and I'm currently in 9th grade from British International School, Hanoi. Thank you for being here. It's my pleasure to be here to share my experience. So I hope that it can be a relatable story to you all as well. I want to first tell you a story of mine. Several months ago, it was Tet, and it was our family ritual to visit our grandparents' home in the countryside. And it was a very underdeveloped area, like houses were down and tools were very rudimentary and basic. So we even had to boil water using firewood. And I was just there crouching down and observing how my grandma do it, because I genuinely have no idea what to do. The problem was, the fire started to wane and the woods were running out. And I was like, yep, let me step up the game and offer to get more wood and be a less unhelpful person. I did, but my grandma just gestured me to sit down and said no me. And I was very puzzled. Then how do you boil those water? Well, grandma just held the kettle, poured some of them out. I was a bit embarrassed though, definitely a girl from a city with zero survival instinct. But set the emotional aspect aside, that was actually a lesson that helped me navigate this ever more chaotic world. It teaches me one thing: to let go. And I want to talk about the power of letting go. I used to spend my whole primary years in a Vietnamese school system, and shortly after I transitioned to an international school. And here, it was a very new experience. Like the culture was different, even the language was unfamiliar. I found myself in this friend group, and I thought that everything was fine. Like, I have somewhere to sit with during lunchtime, someone to talk to during class. But hey, I really feel truly belonged. How can I feel belonged when in these kinds of conversations there's this mutual friend who's brought up that I have no idea who he or she was? Or they can go all day obsessing over Harry Styles, but my heart is only for K-pop and Korean men. We were that different. But I never left. I stayed because I feared having to walk alone in that corridor and fearing all these faces that look at me and pressure me. Those judgments that perhaps don't actually even exist. And if I'm sure of one thing, I'm not even sure if I'm happy or not. I never introspect myself, but I'm sure that I was always so unsettled. I changed school the next year though, because of academic reasons, and I still found myself in this friend group. Still different tastes, still these different kinds of personalities, and sometimes I even feel hurt when I was with them. But this time, I dared to let go. I knew it was toxic for me, so I just swore to distance myself from them. So naturally, I just went out my way and made a lot of friends, speak to a lot of people, and I found someone who is just like me. I felt someone who I can be happy with, who I can be myself, where I can be at peace. And it was just right that I let go. Just like how my grandma poured some of the water out, it was just right. Because if I had kept those water, there's the wood wouldn't be even enough to boil all the water. That means that the noodles inside were not cooked, but I would have wasted all the woods for nothing. Not only that I would have not get back any appreciation or likeness from those friends, but I would have drained all my energy and liveliness trying to please them for nothing. I should have given all for nothing. Because simply I knew that perhaps I wouldn't be able to match every single personality that's different from mine. And it is not easy to just simply say let go, right? Teenager hormones, we still care about the gazes, about the judgments. Then how can we even let go? For me, it comes with accepting your capacity, your value, or whatever that you have at that moment. Right? When I realized that perhaps it's just my personality, the quirky personality that perhaps just don't match with that mature vibe. It's natural, right? If you separate and find those who are alike. Allow me to illustrate more about what accepting your capacity looks like. Well, I did not just struggle in navigating my relationships, but also in the academic achievements as well. I used to do SATs quite early, and my parents are the typical Asian parents who invest lot in me academically. And so naturally, I become very ambitious in this field. I set my goal high. I remembered I put an immense amount of effort into it. I tried to research every single new vocabulary that I encountered and review every single mistake that I made. Sometimes even chastising and hating myself for making the stupidest error ever. Because I fear disappointing my parents, disappointing my teachers, and even myself. If there's one word that I can use to describe that period of my life, it is chaotic. It's draining. It was hopeless. I felt that I was trudging in this dark tunnel without ever being able to spot the end. Because no matter how much effort that I put in, it never seemed that I was able to grasp that bar of that expectation that I made for myself. It just didn't work out for me. And perhaps that gap between expectation and reality is what utterly caused me unhappiness. Because perhaps we're not aware of our own capacity, or to an extent, like I did, refuse to acknowledge our capacity. The idea is that we need a certain amount of wood to boil a certain amount of water. Then at that moment, why don't we just work with what we have? Work with the amount of wood that we have, rather than trying to extend ourselves and get more wood. Because there's no guarantee that you would be able to find the wood. And even if I did, assuming that I can find the wood, there's no guarantee that I would be able to bring it back on time. How about just let go? Extend too much and it will be all for nothing. Try adding a little bit of push to this girl and she will fall down. Because she has already tried her best. She has already tiptoed on this chair. And she will fall down and have mental breakdowns, perhaps like I did. I tried adding more pressure, adding more knowledge to myself, but it wouldn't just yield the fire that I want. Simply because I can't simply tell my 13-year-old brain to grow as sophisticated, as developed, as that of a 16-year-old in a snap of a second. So if only I had accepted that capacity of mine, I would have been much happier. And while this struggle for expectation and reality is not just exists solely in the academic realm, it can be simply things like admiring body types or admiring relationships, academic achievements, comparing ourselves to the best facades of other people on social media. It looks as if we feel insecure when we see our glass bodies in the internet. But hey, we do not possess that bone structure biologically. So why so unsettled? Just accept that there are certain things that can be in our capacity and some are not, and we will be much more fulfilled. And look, all this piece that I have already talked about, right? This does not come naturally, but it comes with proactivity. Look at these pictures. Which do you think are more nature-like? Which pictures do you think have more than human elements? Leaves that scatter around the backyard, or neat stack of leaves. Vehicles that go in every kind of speed, or a strict ordered vehicle. Which one do you think are more nature-like? Point to the one that you think that are more nature-like. And I bet it is these two as well. That's more nature-like. Because leaves would naturally disperse in the backyard and get to wherever that wind carries them. And people, not to slander, but like would impatiently push the horns, run the lanes and run the red lights because it's convenient. Because why not? It's natural. And two of these pictures, they share two things in common. That's nature and chaos. Because nature would inherently steers towards chaos. So if we want peace and order like what we're having now, right, we will have to invest extra time, extra effort to gather the leaves, or extra money to install a traffic system or police stations to keep society in order. So if we want peace for ourselves, how about installing our own sort of system that filters out the toxicity, filters out anything that's harmful to you, right? And just simply be a system that can ensure your well-being, prioritizing what's important for you. It looks as if you're introspecting your wants and your needs. Because at the end of the day, peace comes with parentality. And the call to action here isn't saying, hey, cut off from this person or isolate from the group. It's really hard. I know. There are many legitimate reasons that require you to stay in a certain environment, and it's not just as simple as saying leave and then you leave. But well, just remember that perhaps peace does not come naturally. So that when you feel hurt, when you feel overwhelmed, you know that there's a way out for you, because peace can be in your control. That there's a choice to be at peace in this chaotic world. Thank you.